afternoon.
Good afternoon. Is that Tasita Demore?
It is, yes.
Hi, how are you? It's DJ Gloss here from Sound Fusion Radio.
Hiya, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well indeed. Have I caught you at a good time?
Yep, it's a great time to call me now.
That's good. Well, I'm glad because that was the time I was told, so at least I've caught you at a good time. That's great. So how are you today?
Yeah, I'm not too bad at all today, thank you. Not too bad at all. And you?
Yeah, very well. Yeah, can't complain. Probably will, but shouldn't really. So, you got a brand new single out, Tasita, and
yes,
and lots of versions of it. And my favourite, I must say, is the Chops Man version. Loving that, absolutely loving
brilliant.
it. Yeah. So,
fantastic.
Change My Heart. Can you tell us a little bit more about it, and a little bit more about what's behind it, and so on?
Yeah, well, the song is about it's about new love, basically discovering new love, new relationship, and it's from a personal experience because I like to write from what I see around me as well, or what I experience myself. So the song was kind of from a personal experience, and that song was born completely by accident, to be honest with you. It wasn't something I planned to sit and write. It was. I heard some music by the producer, Stuart Trotman, and I said I love the song, I love the music. It sounded great, and straight away I had a verse idea for it and a bridge. The chorus came much later, and it was a bit more difficult to create. Nothing seemed to fit. The rest of the song seemed to have written itself, and we were stuck around the chorus. A little bit. My cousin and I, who I co-write with, we sat down with the song and we bashed about for a couple of ideas. I think it's probably the hardest chorus I've ever had to write. I recorded so many versions and it was just like, no. And then we had a chat with Stuart. We Skyped in with Stuart. We played in what we had, and he came up with a melody, and then we changed it slightly, and then suddenly, bam, the chorus was there. And that for me was the song. It was perfect at that point. So it was a bit of a struggle to finish it, but I'm really happy with how it turned out.
No, that's lovely. I mean, I love all the versions of it. I mean, the DJ Kamazaki mix is fantastic. As is the sort of standard mix as well. Very soulful and very very meaningful in that sense. And then you've got the version there by Mr. Murphy there. It's very bright and sort of up and I think that's how I'd describe it. It's very sort of up and ready to go kind of house kind of version of it. So it's a very versatile song, isn't it? It's sort of lots of works with it.
I wanted to try and get different elements because obviously, people traditionally, most people would know me for house, but I was doing soul music before I got into house. I kind of fell into house music, which has been great to me because it's really, up to my profile, and some people know who I am because of the songs I've done, who I've worked with. So house music has been great to me in that respect. And I love house music, but it's never been my first love musically. It was like my second or third. So I always will do house mixes of my project now is soul, so kind of a soul-y jazzy vibe. But I will always do house mixes because I love house, and I love a lot of the house producers that are out there. So I just really wanted to give people like different options because there's so many different elements to house. You've got soulful, you've got a drum and bass vibe, you've got so many different elements. So I just wanted to try and cover as many different areas of that as possible to feel like there's something for everybody because everyone likes their house slightly differently. So I think that the remixes kind of have a good spectrum for people to enjoy. And of course, there's a remix by Kyoto Jazz Massive, which is a bit more bossa style.
Yes,
house,
that's right. Yeah.
So it's very different. Just try to cover as much scope as possible.
Well, it certainly does, and we've played it on. I'm actually a soul DJ and a house DJ. I have soul shows on the radio and house shows on the radio. So, I mean, I first came across you as being this absolutely amazing vocal over various house tunes. And, well, you know, that was how... And also, I came across you in a radio jingle once as well. I saw your name attributed to a radio jingle, which was also very... So... That wasn't lots and lots of time ago, but it was a little while ago, and and the sort of name Tasita more sort of came out more and more in house music. But what I really wanted to ask you, Tasita, was how did it start with you and vocals and singing? What was the thing there? What got you into music as a career?
Oh gosh, that goes far back.
That's okay. I go far back, so don't worry.
I've always been singing as a child. My mum sings in church, and you know, a typical story, I guess, of a child singing in church. You know, I always saw my mum sing, and you know, so basically, I always sang in church from quite a young age. I think the first time I actually remember, being like thinking that I really want to sing, this is what I want to do. We had a church trip. I went with my mum to Jerusalem, and we went into this old Roman Colosseum.
Wow.
Just looking at the ruins and everything. And they said, someone go down, and do something so we can see what it would have been like to be entertained here, And apparently I was only 8, and I ran down, and I went and I sang. And my mum said it was a most amazing thing because it's all open air, so of course the sound just travels,
Wow.
And from then it was everyone, was clapping, and I was like, yeah, I want to do this. That was the feeling I had from an 8-year-old. From then, just wanting to do that more and more and more. And so from there, over the years, obviously, I sang more and more in church, and as I got a bit older, I started to explore singing, but only as a hobby, really, because of course, parents would, push to go through your academics,
yes,
everything.
Yeah,
so,
I can relate to that. Yeah,
yeah. So I appreciate that they did that, and I was quite sensible in that regard. But I just thought, okay, I'll do this as a hobby on the side and see what happens. And sort of gradually over the years, things have grown, and I started quite late in music, so to speak, full time. I had a normal job, 9 to 5, and I just got involved in music more and more and more. And it became more and more important to me, and I just decided, that I didn't want to do the 9 to 5 anymore. Music was actually taking over quite a lot of my time, even during the day. And so I decided to make the switch full time to music with, a lot of support from other people. And I think my first tour was with real people, and basically things just unfolded from there. And the doors have just been opening. I give thanks that I've been blessed enough. Things have just kept moving on and on until now. So it's been a long journey to get to this point, releasing my own project. But it's been a brilliant one.
Well, I mean, it's certainly been a fantastic journey, and seeing your name accredited alongside so many, sort of wonderful artists that, and across the board as well, which is really great to see too, and it's lovely to see. And I was wondering, because you were saying about house music as a personal choice might be a third choice or a second choice. So
yeah.
What are the bands of your first choice of music? What are the artists that you listened to or listen to?
Oh, I'm very old school. I'm a huge, massive fan of Shaka Khan.
Me too.
Whitney Houston. I've forgotten his name. My head's I'm about to say it. George Duke, who died, and I was so fortunate to have met him in London at Jazz Cafe and acted like a complete and utter nutter. I was just so excited. I couldn't speak. I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't speak. I just hugged him, and I thought, I didn't even ask. I just grabbed him. But I'm so excited by his music, and it's very inspirational to me. So people like him, Randy Crawford, the list is just ridiculous. It goes on. Aretha Franklin, but those artists really, Michael Jackson, they really instilled and gave me a love of music from a young age. Even from the pop side, 5-star, an artist like that. It's just a broad scope of artists, but really from a child, those are the artists that really inspired me and that I really looked up to.
Wow, well, there's quite a list. I mean, and I can relate to every single member of that list that you've just given us.
Yeah.
So there you go. Absolutely fantastic. And 5-star, of course, very closely related to loose ends. So
yes, that's right. Yeah.
Carl was telling me all about that, actually, which is quite interesting. So, it's amazing what you discover speaking to artists that you don't know just by sort of reading around the subject. So that's one of the lovely things about doing this job. So that's really good. So can you remember the first time you were ever sort of put in front of a microphone and put in front of an audience and made to sing, so to speak? Can you remember your first sort of live gig?
Oh, my first oh gosh, that's a hard one, actually. My first live gig,
or maybe the first one you remember, perhaps, would be the one that springs to mind would be easier.
I think the first gig that I remember that will always stick in my mind is that I did many years ago as a mini tour with for Caterpillar, who were advertising their new trainers and stuff.
Yeah.
And we had Jocelyn Brown, who was supporting us as a mentor. And there was a few, new artists, rappers, singers, etc. And I remember, I think the most thing I remember with that is that when I was singing, during the sound check, and Jocelyn came and she was listening, and she came up to me afterwards and she said, I'm holding back. She said, you should sing from your spirit, let your spirit be free when you sing. You're trying to hold yourself together. Just be free, and your spirit will do the rest. Because I was absolutely, frightened on stage. Maybe you could see that. Because it was very, it was a massive stage, and I was just like, oh my gosh, it was with a live band, and the band was great. But it was very frightening because I was like, wow, this is what I want, but this is really scary, and she came and she spoke to me. She was absolutely lovely. I've got so much love for Jocelyn. And she spoke to me, and I went back on stage later on that night, and I did what she said. I tried to relax. I just tried to just sing from my heart and not to be scared. And, it really did, it completely just opened the door in the way that I perform, live, and it really taught me something, and I was very appreciative to her for those words, because it's quite scary as an artist to stand on the stage and sing in front of people who've never heard what you're singing about, and they've never heard your songs, especially as a new artist. That's a very difficult thing to do, and she allowed me to feel a little bit more confident and feel a little bit more comfortable in just being who I am and not worrying about it. Just sing, do your thing, and people will receive what you give when you give it.
Yeah, Jocelyn has that lovely sort of air about her, doesn't she? She's got that kind of loving air. When I've spoken to her, I think she's a real lovely person, and I can see how that.
She's a real mum.
Yeah.
She's a real mum. She really did. She mummed us, when we were travelling, and it was lovely to see that, because also she is one of the people who has been an artist that I've looked at like, wow, what a voice, what an amazing voice she has, an amazing song. Somebody else is going to be my absolute favourite, as I'm sure it's many other people's. But when you have someone that you look up to like that, and when you meet them and they're so very down to earth.
Yeah.
And they're so normal, and they're just like, I'm just like you. That just makes you respect them even more, because they're just showing you, this is who I am. This is just me, and what I do is this, and that's fine, And she was amazing. She was really great.
Bless. Yeah, that's lovely. Well, I mean, to have that contribution to your voice, and you've got a very amazing voice. I mean, very flexible and versatile. When you can do the soul diva bit. You can do that gentle, soft, beautiful kind of house. The soulful house voice. You definitely have that. you'd be the first person that jumped into my mind. Female soulful house singer, yeah, Tasita Tamor, definitely, without a doubt.
Oh, thank you.
So
I really appreciate that.
No, it works for us, definitely. I mean, I love it. So it is great to see your new single out. Actually, that's fantastic. So. Yeah. What you doing next? What's the next thing on the agenda for Tasita Tamor?
Well, working very hard in the background whilst everything else is going on at the front. But we have the remixes, which are the singles out now.
Yes.
The remixes are out on the 3rd. I think it's the 3rd of March.
Yes.
And then at the end of March, we have the EP dropping, which is a 4-track EP, which includes a single. And it's just really a taster of what's to come on the album. And this is very different, I think, to what people would expect me to do. It's not dance floor music, so to speak. It is really a soul, a very eclectic soul jazz album. And all the influences that I've had over the years musically, are in those songs. So you have something that's changed my heart, which is very kind of soul, neo soul vibe. And then you have Gonna Be Mine, which is more jazzy vibe, which is my favourite track on the EP. You have Too Bad, which is a little bit more still soul, but it has a little bit more commercial, a little bit of rocky edge to it. And then you have the last song, Can You Hear Me, which is quite ethereal and it's very different to all the other songs. It's chilled version, quite cinematic sounding. So it's just to give people the different elements, and the EP is called Elements, and it's to give people elements of who I am as an artist, and highlighting what's coming on the album, which we hope will be in the summer. We're working on it at the moment. So that's the plan so far. I really hope people enjoy the EP. It is different to the house thing.
I think that's great to to show the flexibility that you obviously have there, in one EP, if it's got those varied elements in it, and covers all of those subgenres, if you like to call them that. I think that's absolutely lovely. So really looking forward to that, and obviously we'll get behind it on the radio and get it out there as we have already with the new single. So really pleased with that. Fantastic.
Thank you so much for your support of the single. I've seen all the tweets and everything on Twitter, and it's really amazing. Thank you. I really do appreciate that, because it's very hard, as a sort of self-releasing artist, to get your music out there. So it's really heartwarming and really comforting and encouraging when people do support the track and help and play it. That's really great. So thank you very much for your support.
Never a problem at all. We're pleased to give the support to to independent artists such as yourself, producing all of this wonderful music. Music needs to be sustainable. People need to pay bills and make a living, and we're very much in support of what we call fair trade music. Where people actually get a sensible price for a beautiful tune. I mean, that's where we're coming from anyway, and we love to promote and be behind artists such as yourself, and things like the Music Connects there, and I know that
yes, that's right,
JM and so on, and Steve Ripley is always very, very supportive, and it all works, and I like that. Yes, that's
everything together. It works really nicely, and as you said, it's about supporting one another, and I think it's great with the things like Music Connects and people like Steve and all the DJs. It really does help to support the UK talent that we have here. We have a lot of it here, and it's nice to see radio stations getting behind UK artists. It's really, really encouraging.
That's right. Well, so much really, really good talent doesn't get seen, and it just seems that shall we say, the scales are loaded in the wrong direction quite often by other stations, and we like to kind of tip the balance back the other way a little bit. I think that's how I'll put it, very diplomatically.
Yes, that's really important.
Yeah, absolutely. Wonderful. And if you'd like to point our listeners to your social media, places where they can buy your tune or tunes, you know, all that kind of thing, websites, that kind of thing, tell the listeners all about that, because they love to hear that from you.
Yep. Yeah, you can find my new single, Change My Heart, on my website, which is www.tasitadamore.com. You can also find me on Facebook, tasitadamore.com, and you can find me on Twitter, @tasitadamore. And you can buy my single on iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, Spotify, and all the digital outlet stores that you can find online. So if you just type in Change My Heart and my name, you'll find me there. And also you can Google me quite easily also, and I'll pop up right there for you as well.
Wonderful. So any plans for the album release to be on physical media or vinyl even?
Yeah, the album will be on physical. We kind of ummed about having the EP on physical because, of course, being sort of self-released, it's quite costly.
Oh yeah,
especially
definitely.
if you're not sure how much you'll sell. So the album will definitely be physical, as well as digital, of course. But the EP we're thinking at the moment will probably just be digital, but that may change. We're still in discussion about about that, but the album definitely physical for the album.
Yeah, I mean to actually produce the media is incredibly expensive overhead, isn't it, up front?
Yeah.
I fully understand that, absolutely. I'm come from the days where you went down a record shop and you came away with an album, and it was a work of art, and
yes, that's right.
and you had everybody's name that was ever anything to do with it in there, and you had a couple of pages of information, who played the drums, who was tinging the triangle, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And I kind of miss that,
It's very different now. I mean, even myself, I always buy. I couldn't tell the last time I went into a shop to go and buy a CD. Actually, I always buy online. And so, yeah, it's changing, isn't it? I mean, especially with a lot of the big CD shops closing down and vinyl shops closing down. So it's very different here. It's moving more digital. But there are still people who love to have physical, Even my own mum was complaining that she can't, her friends can't buy the single because they're not online. There is still that kind of thing where you need to have physical, because some people always just treasure physical. I mean, I bought the George Duke's last album. I bought the physical copy and that was before, around about the time he died. I was glad that I had the physical copy, and hadn't just bought the digital. So, it does matter sometimes to have the physical. I understand that people, still enjoy that as well, but it's a difficult decision to make as an artist, whether you do, that. But definitely albums, I think, are worth doing physical, but when it's a smaller product, it's not always worth, financially worth doing it, because it can cost a lot more. Yeah,
and I noticed as well from your bio, you worked with people like Roy Ayers and Fatback, and I mean, there's some massive names in there. I mean, what was it like working with Bill Curtis? I would imagine it was absolutely amazing.
I was actually quite flabbergasted when I met Fatback Band. They were really nice, really, really down to earth. They flew in, and I was in the rehearsal room waiting, and they walked through the door, and I completely just started to freak out. They couldn't see it, but inside I was going, oh my god, it's Fatback Band. And I was really trying to hi, nice to meet you. I was freaking out completely inside, but I was very calm. I just felt absolutely wow, this is Fatback Band. And when we were running through the songs, I just stood there in awe. This is crazy. This is not real. It really just filled me with absolute pleasure and humbleness to be there with them rehearsing. And they were so nice, really lovely guys, I have to say. They treated me really lovely. They actually, I still keep in touch with a couple of them now, which is really nice. Via Facebook, and they will ask how you're getting on, and how's the single doing. And they're just lovely guys. But it does absolutely. It just brings you back to. You feel like a tiny thing, because these are massive artists who are, humongous and made amazing music. And to be on the stage with them, at the O2 Indigo doing a show, I was absolutely like, oh my gosh, this is mad.
Oh,
and the same thing.
Wow.
Oh yeah, again, absolutely lovely man, amazing artist, just down to earth, no, diva behaviour at all. It was just like, they're just themselves, like we're just regular people. But they were just amazing to work with, and I really felt honoured to work with them. Really did.
That's lovely. Isn't that so right, though, isn't it? I've found that with all the artists that I've spoken to, people are so, artists are so people, they really are.
Yes.
And I love that, talking to people like Bill Curtis or even Marshall Thompson, people like that, you know. And just as a couple of these, Leroy Burgess, what another great guy,
that's right.
Jazzy B, you expect I don't know what I expected with Jazzy B, but we just chatted like a couple of friends. It was wonderful.
Yes, yeah. I think you don't expect it because you just think, well, these people have had huge success and they've made amazing music, and you just think they're this big and that they're going to be a certain way, and when they're not, it's actually really lovely when they're not, when they're just normal with you and they'll quite happily sit and chat with you. It's a really great feeling. Because they realise that as big as they are as artists, they're still people,
That's right.
like everyone else. And it's nice when you can sit and just chat and connect with them, and they don't have an attitude with you or anything like that. It's just really nice to be around, and it makes you respect them more, I think, as well.
Absolutely, yeah. And look at yourself there. The number of tunes that you've been on, the number of people that you've worked with. You've had some amazing success, and I think that's absolutely fantastic. And I can see with this, this latest release, Tasita, it's just gonna, there's just gonna be more and more, and I think that's absolutely lovely. And can't wait to bring the EP and the subsequent album to the ears of our listeners. And looking forward to that. So,
Thank you.
Hopefully, when you do the album release, we can chat again and we can talk about the album.
That would be great.
Love to do that. That would be really good.
Yeah, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, and then if we can talk about some of the individual tracks, and maybe I can put together a nice feature show to put out on the radio to assist with the release of it. And that sounds great. I'd love to do that. That would be absolutely brilliant. But really, and so what about going forward? And a lot of people perhaps don't even look, sort of that far ahead because of all the things that are going on right now. But do you have any plans, sort of, for the next couple of years? Things going on? Do you have any sort of visions beyond the next album? Or what sort of things are going to be happening with Tasita D'Amour?
I've not even thought about beyond this one. I'd love to do another album, obviously, for next year. I'd love to. I think the only thought I'd given, I guess, past this year is to be able to, maybe do some festivals and do some live stuff, live band. I love performing, live with a band. I know some amazing musicians because of my sort of history of working with various artists. So for me, I would love to be able to take, the album on the road and tour, however small or big that would be. That would be my dream. I'm completely living my dream right now, just having the single out. We're looking forward to the EP and then an album. So I'm sort of caught up in that bubble of wowness with that at the moment, because it's been a long desire of mine and long goal of mine to want to, put out my own soul project. Or it doesn't even have to be that I actually put it out myself, but just to have a album out that was non-house. Yeah. And that's always been something I've wanted to do. So I'm very excited about that at the moment. And for me, the next step would be, to tour it, which would be amazing. So that's the hope, and that's what that's what we will work towards, hopefully. Towards the end of this year or next year, that would be great. And to get on and do another album. But I also want to help other artists that I know, because I know so many singers, of course, with amazing voices, amazing talent, who I would like to also, see get their own projects out, there as well. So, there's also an element of myself and the producer and Stuart Trotman, trying to help others and working with others on their projects and kind of just helping, push through stuff and helping them get their own music out
that's
there
lovely.
as well.
Yeah.
So that's the plan. Yeah.
Giving a little bit back, isn't that lovely? That's just so so nice that that you consider that and assisting other people. That's fantastic. And what about a really beautiful Tasita D'Amour video to go with the really beautiful tune?
Yeah, I've actually just posted one up just now. Actually, There was a little snippet. It's not a full video, and it's not a music video per se. But yes, I have been harassed by people about why is there no video to go with the song. And of course, I've put it up today on YouTube on my channel. So if you type in my name, it should pop up again. And I've put it on I've linked it on Facebook and Twitter. It's just a little snippet. It's not, it's nothing, no massive music video. But a really great guy called Nikos Bitlos created the video for me.
Yes.
I really love what he's done with it. It's the images really do relate to the song. So yeah, it's only a snippet. It's not the full song. So I hope people will enjoy the little snippet that we put up there.
Wonderful. There's a picture on your website of you sitting on this really sort of plush looking leather sofa with a brick wall behind you and two wall lights. Where was that taken? That place looks fantastic.
Actually, the photo was taken down in Southampton.
Yes.
I think it's Southampton, by the sea. There's a great photographer, Scott Miller, who found the venue actually because he lives there, and so we went down. It's actually in a bar. The bar is called Old Hat restaurant bar, and yeah, we did the photo shoot there, and just used various shots from there for the single, which is the cover, and the picture on the sofa is downstairs. In there, I think it's a part of the restaurant, but it was clear when we used it. But yeah, it just had a nice feeling. So it was a great place to take some really great shots, and we took some shots outside. They have an outside area as well. Really lovely people, actually. They were probably thinking that we'd taken over their restaurant for the day, with me jumping in and running around in different outfits 1 minute and in another outfit another minute. But they were lovely. The lady who owned the place, the manager, she was really lovely and was really patient with us on that day because we were, up and down and have an upstairs and a downstairs and an outside. And it's funny because some of the shots we were taking, they had the actual restaurant was still open, so sometimes people would come and want to sit outside in the patio while we were taking shots. I was standing there like, this is a bit strange.
Having your photo taken around their cream teas or something, yeah. I get it.
It was funny. There wasn't that many people there, but some people were sitting and watching, and I was like, "This is really bizarre." After taking photos, but yeah, the restaurant was really lovely to allow us to use their premises to take photos, and it was a nice cool day to do that there. So yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. Well, Tasita, if there's anything else that you would like to tell our listeners about yourself and about what you're doing, then please feel free to do so now. And just want to say a thank you from everybody at Sound Fusion Radio and all of our listeners for giving us the time to talk to you and find out a little bit more about Tasita D'Amour, a little more about that wonderful voice that we hear so much, that we love.
Thank you. I guess... the only thing I would say is thank you to everyone who's supported, my music over the years, because it has been a long time that I've been singing, and I get amazing messages from fans on Facebook and Twitter, and it really is encouraging, and it really makes you feel like people do really enjoy what you do, which is really important because I enjoy what I do. The people that I work with, we all enjoy what we do. And so when people, respond in the way that people have been, it's really, really encouraging, and it's very moving to know that people enjoy the music that we're making. So I would just say thank you very much for all the support, and I hope that the rest of the other music that's coming, that they enjoy that as much, and I hope we can continue to make music that everyone enjoys listening to.
Lovely, and we'd love you to continue making that music, whatever genre it is, because everything we hear is absolutely fantastic. And seriously looking forward to the EP coming very soon, and the subsequent album coming after that. And you know, we'll talk again when those things are released, and get right behind you. That would be lovely.
Lovely. Thank you so much. I really appreciate all your support. Thank you.
Never a problem. And we really appreciate your music. And have an absolutely beautiful rest of your day. And we'll speak soon.
Thank you very much. You take care.
You take care too. Thanks now. Thanks, Tasita.
Okay. Thank you.
Have a lovely day.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
You too. Bye.
Bye.